He sat at the corner table, the one facing the rain-streaked window, pushing the plate of food he'd ordered an hour ago but barely touched. The hum of the small diner wrapped around him, clinking cutlery, faint laughter, the old jukebox humming a tune from a decade ago. Yet, for Mark, it was all just noise. His chair across the table remained empty, and had been for months now. He wasn't waiting for anyone anymore. At least, that's what he told himself every night he came here. Then, just as he was about to leave, a soft voice broke through the quiet air. "Excuse me, my son's hungry. Can we stay a while?" Mark turned. A young woman stood there, soaked from the rain, her clothes clinging to her frame. Beside her, a little boy no older than 6 clutched her hand, his eyes darting toward Mark's untouched food. Mark didn't know what made him nod. Maybe it was the boy's eyes, maybe it was the way she said hungry, not ashamed, not pleading, just raw truth. Whatever it was, his lonely dinner turned into something else that night. The waitress brought another plate without being asked. Mark pushed his own meal toward the boy, who hesitated before the mother gently nodded. The little one ate quietly at first, then faster, as if afraid someone might take it away. Mark watched in silence. Something in his chest ached, a memory he'd locked away long ago. He tried not to stare at the woman. Her name, he learned later, was Sarah. She worked 2 jobs but had lost one last week. Rent was due, and her savings were gone. The diner was just a stop to stay warm before walking to the shelter across town. Mark didn't know what to say. He'd been in her shoes, not long ago. He was the man who lost everything after his wife passed and the bills piled up faster than he could count. He remembered the nights when he, too, sat in cold rooms, wondering if anyone even saw him. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly as the boy dozed off against her arm. "Most people, they just look away." Mark didn't reply. He simply waved the waitress over for hot chocolate. That night, they stayed until closing. Sarah shared pieces of her story, the struggle, the job loss, the father who'd left when the boy was born. Mark listened. Really listened. For the first time in months, his own silence felt lighter. When she left, he offered her his umbrella. She smiled faintly and said, "You look like someone who needs it more than I do." Then she was gone, walking into the rain with her sleeping son in her arms. The next night, Mark came again, same time, same table. He told himself he was just getting dinner. But part of him hoped. And sure enough, the bell above the door jingled, and there she was. They talked longer this time. She told him she found a part-time cleaning job. Mark told her he used to own a repair shop, once bustling with life, before debt forced him to close it. They were 2 broken people trying to find warmth in the cold, not from the food or the coffee, but from the small flickers of human kindness that had somehow found their way between them. Days turned into weeks. The diner became their small world, a place of laughter, stories, and shared silence. The boy, Timmy, grew fond of Mark. He'd run to the table shouting, "Uncle Mark," before sliding into the booth, and then came the night that changed everything. Sarah didn't show up. Hours passed. The diner closed. Rain pounded again against the window, harder this time. Mark felt that old ache again, the one that whispered, "You shouldn't have cared." He went home, restless, unable to shake the worry. By morning, he couldn't take it. He went searching the shelter, the bus stop, even her workplace. Finally, at a small hospital downtown, he found her. Sarah had collapsed at work from exhaustion. She was stable, the nurse said, but weak and malnourished. Timmy was in the waiting area, scared and alone. When Mark approached, the boy's face lit up. "Uncle Mark. Mommy's sleeping. Will she be okay?" Mark knelt, tears burning his eyes. "Yeah, buddy. She'll be okay." In that moment, something inside him shifted. The loneliness, the grief, it didn't disappear, but it found a new purpose. He stayed there with Timmy until Sarah woke up, and when she did, the first thing she saw was Mark holding her son's hand. "I'm sorry," she whispered weakly. "I didn't want you to see me like this." Mark shook his head. "You don't have to face it alone anymore." Months later, the old corner table was full again. Mark's repair shop reopened, smaller this time, but steady. Sarah worked the front desk, her laughter filling the air as Timmy played with tools in the back, and sometimes, on quiet evenings, they'd go back to that little diner. Same corner, same window, same rain outside, only now, there were no empty chairs. Mark would glance at the boy and then at Sarah, smiling softly before saying, "You know, I thought I'd eat alone that night." Sarah would smile back, her eyes glistening. "And I thought I'd never find kindness again." The bell above the door would ring, and the world outside would keep rushing by. But at that corner table, the one where two lonely hearts once crossed paths, there was warmth, laughter, and a reminder that sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can feed more than hunger can feed a soul.